All right. Today is Tuesday, February 14th, so the meeting at Green Charter Township is tonight, just a reminder. In today's video, I wanted to go over Gotion High Tech. Is it owned by China, and why the hell does it matter? So I'm going to jump in, not waste any time, to what Green Charter Township posted on their website, which is proof that Gotion, of course, is owned by China. Li Chen is Li Zhen's son, and I'm sorry if I don't speak any other language but English, barely. So please forgive me for butchering names if I butcher them. I mean no disrespect to anybody ever when I butcher names. So Volkswagen China has invested 24% into Gotion. So that's where I think some of the confusion has come from, is that people want to say Volkswagen has a larger share than the founder and president, but that doesn't mean that Volkswagen owns the company. So when the Big Rapids Township supervisor told 9 and 10 News that the company was not owned by China, he was either lying or misinformed. And it matters for several reasons, of course, but the biggest reason is that any company that is a Chinese company is run or has a string to the CCP, the Communist Party of China. Sorry, Chinese Communist Party, CCP. So I'm going to scroll down here. You can see that Li Zhen is the founder and president, and he's the ultimate beneficiary with 13.56%. Gotion High Tech is owned by these major individual owners and largest shareholders. And as you can see, majority of them are Chinese. Of course, it's a Chinese company. According to public records, Gotion High Tech does not have any direct governmental shareholders. So this is what I want to challenge, because you come over here, and I found this on Twitter. This is, I am guessing, a Chinese-American journalist from what this individual posts. Gotion's founder Li Zhen is a member of CCP and formerly served at the Anhui Provincial Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. So, sorry, I'll keep going. The Big Rapids Township is being asked to sell a water plant and industrial park property for the project. So I thought this was interesting. Perhaps this individual has some more details on Li Zhen being a member of the CCP. Because according to Chuck Thelen, Li Zhen is only a innovator and entrepreneur. Didn't say anything about being a member of the CCP. So I asked this individual for a link, and he sent me this, and luckily Google will translate it for us, because obviously we don't speak Chinese, most of us. So, Li Zhen, a native of Anhui, a member of the Communist Party of China, started working in July of 1984, has a master's degree, and is currently the chairman of, I had it too, Hefe Gotion Group. That basically sounds like Gotion.
Gotion.
There we go, Gotion. Okay, Gotion is how you say it, which I think that's where Gotion comes from, but I could be wrong. Gotion. So he is currently the chairman of the Gotion Group. In 1984, he graduated from this university. Not going to even try to butcher that. From July of 1984 to November of 1986, he worked in the political department of 9419 Factory in Anhui Province. From November to 84 to October of 1992, he worked the Economic Research Center of Hefei Municipal People's Government, administrative organ. The current resident, okay. He served as a general manager. I will speak clearly, I swear. The general manager of Hefei Economic and Technological Development Center. And he served as the general manager of the real estate, Hefei Gotion Real Estate Co. He founded in 2006 Hefei Gotion High-Tech Power Energy Company, and concurrently served as the chairman of the company. Since February 2011, he has served as the chairman. He is also a member of the 9th and 10th Provincial Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, a member of the Standing Committee of the 8th Anhui Provincial Association for Science and Technology, and a representative of the 13th and 14th Hefei Municipal People's Congress. He is in the Chinese government. So if you know anything about the CCP, then you would understand that they run companies, big companies such as Gotion, and that should be an issue for the people of Michigan, who don't have a problem with it being a Chinese company because they think that it's not linked to the Chinese Communist Party. But I'm sorry, that's ignorance. You don't know exactly how the CCP runs, and you need to do some research. Because, again, any big business like Gotion, CCP has ultimate say. In 2016, the Li Zhen family became the richest man in Anhui with a wealth of 14 billion, ranking 195th in the country. You think that he's just allowed to do whatever he wants and that Xi Jinping isn't going to say something or control the company if he wants? Like, we need to not be naive. We're going to go jump over here really quick. The share of top 10 EV battery makers in China, Gotion High-Tech. So, Chinese company. Volkswagen-backed Chinese power battery giant, Gotion High-Tech, will invest billions of dollars in a battery materials plant in Michigan, despite scrutiny of such investments due to the U.S.-China decoupling concerns. So, it's very clear. There's no question. I don't know why the Big Rapids Township supervisor would ever say that it's not a Chinese company when you can clearly see that it is. And that Li Zhen, who is a member of the CCP, is a board member. He is the majority shareholder. This just more proof. Gotion High-Tech is a China-based company principally engaged in the manufacturing of lithium-ion power batteries and electric transmission and transformation businesses. I'm gonna check. Thank you guys for being here and watching. I should check more frequently, but I do want to make sure these videos are semi-organized. I'm a little unorganized in this one, but there's just so much information I wanted to show you. So just more, this is Forbes showing that the Li Zhen and his family, they're billionaires, 1.5 billion. Again, he is the CEO of Gotion High-Tech, primary organization, Crunchbase. And then I wanted to show this. This is his son. This is the individual in charge of Fremont, California's location of Gotion. He's the president. And he is also a part of the World Economic Forum. So, Chen Li, has taken roles in Gotion High-Tech since 2014, including Director of Silicon Valley R&D Center, CEO of Gotion US, Director of Global R&D Centers, VP of Engineering, R&D Institute, and now SVP and President of Gotion Global. He is a member of the CPPCC of Bajo, that's terrible, district in Haifa. I was saying it right earlier. Before Gotion, he worked with think tanks Bridging Nations Foundation and World Watch Institute in Washington, D.C. He holds a BS from Purdue University. Okay. So there's another link. World Economic Forum, CCP, the family are one of the richest families in China. Does this not bother anybody? I mean, if you want to be okay with it being a Chinese company because you don't understand that it's linked, but now I linked it for you, are you still okay with it? That's my question. Are you still okay with Gotion coming and buying Michigan land, knowing this information? Please let me know in the comments. If you're okay with it, please explain why. I would love to know. Just more information on Chen Li. And this is an article I wanted to briefly go over because it explains through The Guardian, which is, I would say, has a more left-leaning bias, how the state runs business in China. Much of modern China's epic growth was driven by private enterprise, but under Xi Jinping, the Communist Party has returned to being the ultimate authority in business as well as politics. And I'm going to tell you that Xi Jinping just got reelected, and I don't know the exact number, but I think it was like 2,327 or something like that. And all of them voted for him to be reelected. Not one person voted against him. That's how communist countries run. If somebody voted against him, Xi Jinping would have killed him. So I think it's important for people to understand how the CCP runs, how communism runs in general. When Xi Jinping took power in 2012, he extolled the importance of the state economy at every turn, while all around him watched as China's high-speed economy was driven by private entrepreneurs. Since then, Xi has engineered an unmistakable shift in policy. At the time he took office, private firms were responsible for about 50% of all investment in China and about 75% of economic output. But as Nicholas Lardy, a U.S. economist who has long studied the Chinese economy, concluded in a recent study, since 2012, private market-driven growth has given way to a resurgence of the role of the state. Now, this was written in 2019, so before the Great Reset started in 2020. But, again, Xi Jinping was just reelected, so I don't think anything's changed except for maybe more state control rather than less. International governments have noted Xi's interventionist instincts with alarm. When U.S. officials were pressed in early 2019 to provide evidence that Huawei was the Chinese telecommunications giant, had facilitated spying on the U.S. and its allies, they pointed out that Beijing had already made their case for them. First, with the party's systematic infiltration of private companies, and second, with the introduction of a new national intelligence law in 2017. The law states that any organization and citizen shall support and cooperate in national intelligence work. The director of U.S. National Counterintelligence and Security Center, when asked about China's entrepreneurs, cited these two policies, asserting that Chinese company relationships with the Chinese government aren't like private sector company relationships with governments in the West. That is very true. Again, this is not a free society. I don't know if there is any free societies left after 2020, but China is definitely not even close. And another thing, this being a Chinese company, people keep saying, well, you buy, everything you buy basically is from China. So don't you want things made in America? And it's like, of course I want things made in America. Buy an American company. I want an American entrepreneur to start a business and for us to support that business and have made in America, made in Michigan. It'd be even better if it was a Michigander that started the business. But selling land to China, to the CCP, because when you sell it to a Chinese company, you're selling it to the CCP, I don't think that we should be doing that. Again, let me know if you think I'm wrong down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I don't want an echo chamber here. You don't have to agree with me on everything, and I actually don't want you to agree with me on everything. I want you to think for yourself. So if you have some kind of qualm with what I'm saying, let me know. I have no problem with that. I think healthy debate is one of the main reasons this country is going to the shitter. Nobody wants to talk to each other. It's sad. Everyone just wants to yell at each other their opinions and not listen to the other side. So I don't want to do that. Sorry, I keep scrolling down out of this nervous habit. I gotta get used to not fidgeting. Such shifts under Xi have gifted the US and EU an excuse to limit Chinese access to their markets, technology, and companies. Now again, this was back in 2019. We did have a different president. I don't want to get into all that. Now it seems like we are more Chinese friendly, and yet we're kind of in a cold war with China. And so it's really confusing, just like everything else going on right now. I can see why people are frustrated, but this isn't confusing. Gotion is a Chinese company. Gotion is owned by a member of the CCP, and his son is also a member of the CCP and a member of the World Economic Forum. And in charge of Gotion over in Fremont. So, Fremont, California, not Fremont, Michigan. Australia has cited the same intelligence law to keep Huawei's 5G technology out of its future mobile networks. Gordon Sondland, Donald Trump's envoy to the European Union, gave such sentiment a hyperbolic spin to argue that Europe should do the same. We want to keep critical infrastructure in the Western world out of Chinese influence. Someone from the Politburo in Beijing picks up the phone and says, I want to listen in on the following conversation. I want to run a certain car off the road that's on the 5G network and kill the person that's in it. There's nothing that company legally can do today in China to prevent the Chinese government from making that request successfully. Yeah. And then, that's another thing. You know, China has slave labor. I mean, why do we want to have that supply chain? Why do we want to support that kind of behavior and have their supply chain in our backyard? There's a bunch of reasons why it should bother you that it's a Chinese company from where I stand. Until recently, such a statement would have been laughed out of court. No longer, nor would Washington have contemplated the policy of decoupling the U.S. and Chinese economies, shorthand for the administration's commitment through taxes, tariffs, and other punitive measures. The relationship between the party and private sector companies is, up to a point, flexible, certainly more so than with state companies. The party doesn't habitually micromanage their day-to-day operations. The firms are largely still in charge of their basic business decisions, but pressure from party committees to have a seat at the table when executives are making big calls on investment and the like means the lines have been dangerously blurred. Chinese domestic laws and administrative guidelines, as well as unspoken regulations and internal party committees, make it quite difficult to distinguish between what is private and what is state-owned. Again, this was all the way back in 2019, and that seems like a lifetime ago. Things have changed so much, but when it comes to the CCP, it's only intensified the CCP's grasp on private enterprise. So, be weary. One last thing I wanted to show you in here. Sorry. Chinese battery maker Gotion to locate a third of its production abroad by 2025. And this was June 27th of 2022. So yeah, you want to be a part of Silk Road, China's Silk Road? Big Rapids? Because that's the possibility here. Chinese battery maker Gotion said in plans to locate 1/3 of its production capacity outside China by 2025 to meet the growing demand from overseas electric vehicle makers and energy storage household clients. The company is based in the Anhui province, said in a statement on Tuesday that it plans to build a total battery production capacity of 300 gigawatt hours in 3 years, reiterating a goal it first announced last year. In 2021, Gotion produced 16 gigawatt hours. Chinese battery makers are accelerating expanding production in overseas markets where rivals such as Panasonic and LG Energy Solution are more dominant. So, yeah, that's all I have for you on this question of Gotion be a Chinese company. Again, let me know in the comments what you think. Are you okay with this? Or are you not okay with this? You think that Gotion is separate from the CCP somehow? Show me some proof down in the comments. The next video I will be making in just a few minutes is on lithium mining. And the question is, do Michiganders want to be a part of the supply chain that is helping to destroy parts of the world? So if you're interested in lithium mining and what it actually is doing to Mother Earth, look out for that next video. I appreciate you guys watching and hanging out with me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you.